Okay. Ah, you pressed a button.
I clicked a button.
Says meeting is now streaming live on YouTube.
Yes. Well, it's working. It's getting there.
Those are drawers.
Oh, you have to make your whole world needs to be more presentable. Suddenly you're like, oh dang, okay, what?
Yes.
Yeah, I know the feeling. Oh, right. So cool. We are officially here on YouTube. Good. Let's hope that sticks around.
Where's that picture from behind you?
I took it.
Oh, where exactly at?
Yeah, it's it is on John Lewis Freedom Parkway. Walking underneath this covered part of it. Yep.
Oh, okay.
I think I'm going to link the YouTube video on the Facebook and all over the place. Okay.
Just say hello.
Let's swerve over here. Hey, Giselle. Giselle's connecting to audio. Nick Daniels is joining.
Also, Amanda is confirmed.
Right. That is A-okay. So Giselle is still connecting. Hi, Nick. Oh, Nick has gone. Well, let's see. We're heading up on the time when we might want to get going. So. Check the phone. What's happening? All righty. Whoa. Giselle is getting galactic over here.
There he is.
Oh my gosh.
How's everybody?
Hey, good.
Doing pretty okay.
All right.
I'm loving the aesthetic of being in outer space, but yet part of your living room is still with you.
Yeah, Zoom doesn't do well on my computer here.
I'm surprised it's doing as well as it is for me. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn that off. How are you guys?
We're doing okay.
I don't know why. I thought we were meeting at 5:30. We're going at 5?
No. The assembly does begin at 5:30.
Okay.
I just open it up early so that people can get in.
Okay.
We don't open the first E doors at 5:30 on the dot, you know.
No, you're right. You're right about that. How you doing, Ben?
Well, I'm good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Sunday has become my grocery day, grocery and errand day. And so usually by now I'm still running around. And so I was like, oh, I got to get back for the assembly.
It has left your routine, is what I'm hearing.
It has destroyed my routine, my Sunday and Monday routine.
Yeah, right on. Oh, actually, I think you're certain. It's learning.
Oh.
It's learning that you're.
She pops in and out.
Come on, man. Come on. You can do it.
Am I showing up? No?
Come on.
Okay, I'm coming.
All right. She'll be here any second now.
hmm
Okay,
She's lost in the crowd. It's like, where's Waldo?
Mm-hmm. Sale, I think I have you. You're after a couple. You and Trey are both gonna share, and I think it'll be after a couple poems and someone who I met on Friday who'll be talking about something they organized.
Okay.
So just so you have an idea.
This is the YouTube feed. It's like 10 or 15 seconds behind.
As usual. Yep. And there's it. There's you showing it 15 seconds ago. So is that a poop emoji mug up there, Ben? Is that what's happening?
This?
Yes.
Yes.
Excellent. That is exactly what.
I also have a plushie.
Now, as we all know, that's actually chocolate soft serve. That's what that
We
really is.
have
Wink.
another plushie.
Oh, okay.
Oh, an angry bird for you.
Fine.
Yeah, I had this around Freeside for a while.
Oh, yeah. Hooray.
I see somebody.
Hey.
Okay.
I'm good. And they're like, oh, but I have a nice white background here. I could do something.
Oh,
with
yeah, you
that.
can really. All right. So Amanda dropped off, and
Okay,
also Callie also dropped off. So what do we have going on today? All right, we got a Michelle, we got an Adam. Good news. Here come the cavalry.
Okay.
All right, so I said I wanted to start on time, but I do feel like I need to wait for the first person who is going to speak most prominently besides me to be in the Zoom before I do that. So
Oh, wow.
I will wait.
This background does not work.
Ashley's not even sharing her work in progress.
I'm working on
backgrounds.
it, y'all.
She's keeping it secret. Hello, Adam and Paulina.
Hey there. How's it going?
Pretty well.
We're just getting situated here.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see.
Background doesn't work. Let me try to.
Brandon has arrived.
I'll show you guys the background that I used at work once. They got a little laugh.
That's great. This is excellent.
Oh, apparently I am.
Is your
wasn't this
computer not-
timely. It detects my skin to be the same color as this.
Oh.
So I am very white, is what Zoom is telling me.
Okay. Okay.
My face is completely gone. You can see my hair
You
and
should
my shirt.
You should relish this moment as a learning experience because it so rarely happens.
Wow. Okay, so I can't do a fun background scene.
Oh, well, you could move, I guess, if you really wanted
Hey,
to.
Brandon.
How's it going?
What other stuff?
Hmm.
What's the bummer?
We have Michelle, Amanda.
Amanda's Ashley's friend. She'll be sharing a poem.
Hey, Ross.
Hello.
Hey, I'll have you on mute some, and you won't be able to see me some because I'll be moving around and you'll get dizzy if I leave the video on.
It is actually true. It's already happening. It's very impressive what you're able to accomplish.
Yeah. I so appreciate what you're doing, though.
Yay! Thank you so much.
All right, I tried. I gave up.
Okay. Thanks for trying, Ashley.
I guess I could turn my mic on. That would probably be better.
Yeah, you could. You could speak through your computer.
Hi, Amanda.
Oh, that's good.
Got two people in the same room trying to figure out how to not create Zoom echoes. We're failing.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Sorry, I'll mute.
Oh. No, you're not bad.
Maybe I am, you don't know. How are you doing? It's good to see you.
I'm doing well. I'm doing all right.
So I see Dave Huddleston, and I wonder if that actually might be Callie. And if so, feel free to chime in.
Hi. Oh, nope. This is Dave Huddleston. Callie, I think, is upstairs. I'm her father.
Awesome. I saw Callie hop in and then drop off, and she was going to be talking a little bit during this. So I was kind of hoping I would see her before we got started.
She's upstairs. I know she was hollering at us, "I'm about to be on the program!" So she's probably, coming back at some point.
Well, hello, Mela. Good to see you. Mela, you are muted, but I assume that you were saying, Ross, it's so good to see you. You're the best person in the world.
That's right. That's absolutely. But now you can hear me say it for real. Is that right?
Yep, you're good.
Okay, thanks. Let me get some better light in here. You can't see me very well. Oh,
I like
this'll
your
work.
hair, Mela. That's so cute.
Thank
I
you.
haven't seen it.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I think I can hear everyone now.
Hey there.
Hey, Brian. Thanks so much for joining us again.
Sure, no problem.
Hi, Brian. See if I got
Hello.
video. There I am. Hi.
Hey there.
Hey, Ben.
Hi.
I see Rich Hammett. That's someone that I believe that I know.
Cool. Just for folks' awareness, yes, this does start at 5:30. I'm waiting to kind of do our 5-minute countdown to get everybody on the same page for Callie to be here, who just joined, and hopefully it works this time. But I appreciate everybody who is showing up, who is showing themselves and being cool. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I remember that roller coaster countdown from a time or two before. It showed like there's so much video going on. It's like 1 frame per second.
Oh,
yeah, I know what you mean. It's one thing
I'm way
on
cool.
screen,
Too.
and then another when it's on
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah, I hope everyone can appreciate the kind of like basically 1 frame a second roller coaster experience. It's a kind of a custom designed, it's actually a Disney prototype. Not many people know about it. It's really cool. Callie, I think I see you. Can you say hi?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Wonderful.
awesome. Hello.
Cool. I'm gonna so with one of the first people who are gonna speak here, I'm gonna share my screen and do a little countdown while we let some more people in, and then we will get started. So here we go.
Here.
Can people talk while the countdown's going on?
Yeah. Hi, Joanne.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How's everyone?
Hi, Rod. Hi, Giselle. Hi, Ben.
Hi,
Is
Ann.
it Nick Black? I haven't been on a roller coaster in so long because I'm so old it makes me sick to my stomach, but it looks like fun.
Well, given the refresh rate on this thing, it actually is probably the most nauseating it could possibly be. So I'm sorry to be, I guess, making it worse.
No, it's cool. I like it. It's fun. A virtual experience, right?
Yep.
I first saw this when Sunday Assembly Nashville did it. They use this to kind of
look at
get
this.
everybody to know what's happening and when things will begin.
I like it.
Let's see who else I can see here.
Don't ask me where these roller coasters are, however.
Well, that's what I want to know. Yeah, I want specifics.
Adam, Amanda. So, Freya, Mella. Hey.
Yes.
Hi, Anna.
Look at Bella's hair. It's so pretty. Look.
Hey, Brandon. Bryant. Joanne.
Hey, hello.
Hey. Oops, I lost everybody.
Ben has brought out his most adorable weapon.
Jared.
Hello.
Hello.
I see other friends. I see Tim. I see Ashley.
Y'all remember Romper Room? You may be old enough. I don't remember. Like she would sit there in that circle, like she'd hold that circle in front of her face and say, "I see you." Like you were supposed
Yeah, at
to
the end, I wanted my name on there so bad.
Yeah, you're supposed to think she was like saying that she saw you. Like I never got that as a kid. Like, oh, they were talking to us, trying to make us think that she was seeing us through the TV. But yeah, I don't remember ever hearing my name either, Giselle.
Well, I sent my name
love
in.
roller coasters so much. Oh my God.
I
I
guess
guess it made a difference if you had a common name.
Yeah, I sent my name in, but
Yeah, they probably had to use names that they figured would speak to the most kids. And I don't know that my name was that common either. Of course, I went by Tracy when I was little. So.
How do I get the most people back on the screen?
Oh, you mean because you don't want to see you want to see people instead of the roller coaster?
Yeah.
That's just too bad. If somebody's sharing, you don't have that choice. Like have your bookmarks, like a bookmark shaped list of your friends there, but you don't get to see everybody.
There is in fact a gallery view, Anna, that allows you to see a lot of screens. I don't know if that's available on the phone though. I don't know what device you're using.
Actually, I got a new laptop.
Whoa.
I got another Chromebook. Yeah. So I'll look on settings and see if I have that.
Yeah, there's a
Which
speaker
Chromebook?
at the top, so you can either see the speaker or like the person who's speaking. So in this case, you would just see me because I'm talking. But there's not the gallery view just shows, like on mine, it just shows a stack of people in a strip, and then on the main part of the screen is the video, the countdown that crosses.
Well, I have 3 monitors because this is my work, computer, and I had to buy some to work from home. But anyway, I dragged it and opened it on another screen, opened it up, and I can see everybody on another screen.
I mean, that's cool.
The forward screen is 10:9:8, but I see everyone else to the left here.
Okay, so you split out the gallery view from.
You're nearing it.
I did.
2, 1.
We have done it.
I got a Star Wars nut here.
We have done it.
Yeah.
That's my room. I need to clean up.
So, actually, I'm going to switch over just so y'all can see my lovely face for just a hot second here.
There we go.
And I get to see all of your faces. Hello and welcome to Sunday Assembly Atlanta. Thank you so much for joining us on this Zoom call with all sorts of awesome faces, as well as anybody who might be watching on YouTube, because we're streaming out there. Thanks so much for coming. The theme for this monthly gathering is, of course, Black Lives Matter. How could it not be in such an important and really like difficult time for our city, our nation, and the globe. So thank you so much for coming and choosing to be here to ponder and learn about this theme. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to sharing my screen to show kind of what we're going to be doing here. So in case you don't know, Sunday Assembly Atlanta is a secular community without deity, dogma, or doctrine. We want to help everyone live better, help often, and wonder more in this one life that we know we have. And we're so glad that you're here virtually. We have a couple of, important days. Of course, today is Father's Day, so shout out to the dads out there. I know for a fact we got some dads in the audience, so you are cool. And also a shout out to folks who, for this day, is actually difficult. We as a community also see you, and we think about you as well. If you didn't know, Friday was Juneteenth, commemorating the end of slavery, or at least the very last end of slavery in Texas, 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation. And that is, of course, relevant to what we'll be talking about today. So thank you so much for coming. Just some, normally, in the past, before COVID-19, we would, of course, have these assemblies in person. But since we're doing them digitally, just a couple of reminders. So please try, if you aren't speaking, being muted is great. Of course, we'll have an icebreaker, and then you are absolutely invited to chat. And the chatting at the top and afterwards is, of course, welcome. If you have tech issues, like I'm not gonna be able to do that. I only have 2 screens. I know Jasale has like 12, so maybe you can ask him. He'll probably be able to handle it. And we've got the latency thing, so try to be thoughtful when you're speaking to give people time to respond, because the speed of light is only so fast. Yeah, if we get any jerks, we'll kick them out, so don't worry about that. And we are live on YouTube, like I mentioned. So, if you want to pick your nose, maybe turn the camera off or something. So we are going to begin with a bit of a song that the band has actually performed a number of times. The band only recorded 1 song asynchronously this time. So I was just going to play this for y'all, which I think kind of sets the tone. It's one that we've done before, and after that, we will move into speakers and poetry and so much more. So why don't you sit back and appreciate this song, right? you so much for listening to that. Up next, we have a speaker who I am, yes, so yes, claps, virtual claps, using the reactions, or yes, also by yourself. Thank you. First person we have who's going to be sharing with us today is Callie Huddleston, who I met on Friday on Juneteenth because she organized a protest, or a sit-in rather, I suppose. And I asked her afterwards if she were willing to come share with us what the experience of planning that, like what was the motivation behind that, and anything else on her mind about what went into and came out of this experience. So please, if we could give a silent or whatever kind of round of applause in welcoming Callie to share with us today.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. So I guess I'll just kind of get into maybe first I can answer kind of why I wanted to do the sit-in. I mean, this is something that has, police brutality and on that topic have been happening for, such a long time, and it's always kind of been somewhat a part of my life as a, Black American growing up. And so, and there's been so many events where in the past, these killers don't get convicted, people don't get charged, and it's just become such a sad thing to watch happen in our country. This happened time and time again. And I think with George Floyd, for some reason, this event in particular, I don't know if it's COVID, people are, just fed up with everything. And this movement has been has gotten more momentum than I've ever seen in my short life so far. And so I think I really just wanted to take that momentum and keep it up and keep it moving. I really do not want to see this kind of die down like it has in the past, or stop getting the attention that it needs. So I think, I'm young. I just graduated college. I don't have a whole lot of money. I majored in film, so I don't really have a background in political science or anything. So I thought a sit-in would be kind of the best way to try to continue this momentum in this movement. So that's when I decided to do a sit-in. So I originally wanted to, I knew I wanted to do a sit-in. That seemed like the easiest kind of thing to do instead of having a march, because then you would have to, get permits, have streets closed and all that. So I got a venue. I got Piedmont Park. They were super awesome and really easy to work with. We didn't need to get really permission or anything. They just said we could just kind of show up, which was awesome and really took a lot of the pressure off of it. And then I got in contact with Faith Brooks. She is also a young activist in the area if you want to kind of look into her. And she was the speaker at the event, and it was great. And we sang some songs, and we opened the crowd up to if anybody else wanted to share some ideas. So it was really awesome. It was really great. I'm so glad I could be able to be a part of it and, hear other people's stories and just help this conversation going.
And I remember you you were visibly like very pleased and surprised at the number of people who showed up. I'm so bad at measuring crowds. Did it feel like 200 people maybe?
This is something that like me and my friends and family have been talking about and trying to figure out a number. I think we concluded on at least over 100 people, which is crazy because I posted it on Twitter, I posted it on my Instagram, and made a Facebook event about it, and that was it. And I just told friends and family. So a lot of people said they just heard about it through word of mouth, which is amazing, like how much we can accomplish if we just support each other and listen to what's going on in our community. So yeah, I think maybe by the end, maybe 200, but at least like 120.
And I was also moved by like the number, like you opened up the mic at the end, and you made it available for anyone to speak, and I was surprised at the number of different angles on this problem and different perspectives that were brought up, that I was not like, I was so glad that you gave that space, because a lot more a lot more came out of that as well.
Thanks. Yeah, that's what I think I really wanted to make sure that we gave the crowd a chance to talk, because I think the main thing behind this movement is just keeping conversations alive. You know, we can only learn and we can only grow if we talk to one another. And I think being able to open that up also really helps it feel more like a community and more like just individuals talking to each other versus, you know, just politics or something. Even though this is not a political issue, it just kind of makes it feel more comfortable talking about this uncomfortable conversation when, you know, it feels like friends and family just sharing. So I was also, you know, really pleased and really amazed about how many different types of stories we heard. You know, we heard a story from a young man about his own experience with police while he was a student at the state. We heard stories of, you know, people losing their fathers. We've heard stories of the LGBTQ community battling homelessness with all of this and stuff. So we heard a lot of different spectrums. I think that's an important thing to remember, is that this isn't just, you know, a Black issue. This isn't just something that only Black people deal with. You know, this is a world issue. You know, it's an international issue, and I think everybody needs to be involved in the conversation.
Mm-hmm. And like, and intersectional too, right? Because
Yes.
a lot of like when the man came up and talked about like how the LGBTQ movement and pride specifically owes itself to Black trans women, for example. And he talked, it really stuck to me, of course, when he talked about what whiteness is to him, and how specifically like what whiteness is. Like my skin color is not not a choice, but the choosing, he had this idea about what whiteness was, but choosing to be white was not standing up, not participating.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that I feel like I've been really happy to see the number of non-brown people participate in this conversation. I think I feel like is the first time where I really think that we have a lot of white allies, which is amazing and such a great feeling because, you know, I think everybody has biases in their life. And I think in a way, it's easier for white people to listen to other white people. And I think if you are, you know, white and having conversations with other white friends about maybe, you know, just challenging their ideas and saying like, hey, like, you know, let's listen to what the Black Lives Matter movement has to say. I think that is super powerful. So I think it's really cool and really important that all races are taking a part of this conversation, because that is what is going to be needed to happen in order to see the changes that we need and that we want.
Can't agree more. Do you have any things you want to leave us with, like action items? You know, like I'm sure like voting, as hard as it is apparently in some counties for a number of reasons, right? Like that's a huge one, right? Like showing up. Does anything else come to mind?
Yeah, definitely. I think like I kind of have a little top 3 just easy kind of non-effort things that you can do to help this movement continue on. The first one, definitely voting, and not even in just the presidential election, because, you know, everybody shows up for the presidential races, but the legislative races too, and, you know, judges and chief of police and all of those positions, you know, we get to have a vote and we get to have a voice on who is in those positions. So I think voting and encouraging your friends and family to vote and all of that is super important and really makes a difference, especially if we all show up and kind of show out. That would be amazing. And then the other thing that I have is just protesting and sit-ins. And I know sometimes protests and march kind of get some criticism, because people are like, well, what is sitting there gonna do? What is marching down a street really gonna do? But if enough people keep this conversation going, keep protesting, keep showing up, like at our sit-in, we noticed that there was a helicopter that was flying by a couple times, which is, I had no idea, did not expect, so that was a surprise. There was a drone, there was, I think media came at some point, we noticed people with, you know, video cameras and badges and stuff. So I think like the media came. And so I think if we keep protesting, we keep marching, we keep talking and chanting and holding signs, that's just going to keep showing politicians and lawmakers that, hey, no, like we're really serious about this and we're not going to stop until we see change. And so it's really going to help motivate the people who are in the power to make a difference, to actually make a difference. We just like, you know, cannot shut up about it. We just have to keep going. So that's kind of my second little point. And then my third point is also just to keep talking. I think, you know, having conversations with your friends and family who might not share the same ideas as you is where we're really going to start to see change. You know, it's an uncomfortable and really hard conversation to have, but that I think is one of the only ways we're going to be able to see progress. You know, if everybody just stays in their own little bubble and keeps the same ideas that they've always had, then we're not going to see any changes. So we need to have those uncomfortable conversations with friends and families and, you know, teachers, and if possible, your boss, I don't know, whoever you can think of, that I think is really going to change. So I challenge everyone, me included, all of us, to kind of try and find that one person who doesn't share the same idea and just, you know, just talk to them and say, hey, you know, I kind of want to just challenge you on that. I want to share my opinion. I want to, you know, share about this, you know, Sunday assembly that I went to and, you know, this conversation that we had. So I think those three easy, free things we all have access to, and we all have the ability, or hope, you know, hopefully we all have the access to. I know sometimes voting gets sticky, but if we have the access to do it, to definitely take advantage of those and to just keep going and keep pushing and, you know, keep our fingers crossed.
Well, I really appreciate you coming and just right after it, right, choosing to share and kind of bring what was there, which is right behind me virtually, is a photo I took of you talking to a large crowd that was all around all of us. But bringing that conversation here, I really, really appreciate it. So can we please give some claps and some appreciation for Callie for coming and sharing? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much again for inviting me and letting me come on. I didn't know about Sunday Assembly, but I'm so glad you did, and I'm so glad I know about it now, because this is really cool and is such a great way to have these conversations. You know, people say, you know, oh, you know, we need to talk, but this is a place where we can talk and learn and grow. And so thank you guys for, you know, being here and inviting me. And I definitely am looking forward to participating more and, you know, joining Sunday Assembly. This seems really cool.
Thank you, Callie. Thank you.
Yeah,
thanks.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
and
you.
there are props in the chat, by the way, just want you to know. Anyway.
Cool. Yeah, I've been seeing some pop up. So thank you guys seriously so much. If I know Ross, if anyone wants my contact info or anything, Ross has my email. So if you want to pass it out, feel free to do so. And you know, let's keep talking.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it. I unfortunately have to go, but thank you guys, and I'll see you hopefully next Sunday for sure.
Cool.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
just, we do this monthly, so we don't have that much, but
Oh, okay.
but yes, I would love that.
Okay, sounds good. Perfect. Thank you
Cool.
guys. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. I'm gonna choose to not keep switching back to my screen just to show, well, maybe the slides are cool. I don't want to erase that, but it's a lot of work to simply, when I could simply transition, because the next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be hearing some poetry from our very own Ashley Sofra. And if you would like to share, you can.
Will you?
You're muted, Ashley.
Good grief. Thank you. Hello. Trying again. So what Ross has showing on the screen now is a picture I took at a protest I went to a couple of weeks ago. And in the couple of days following that, I found myself just really sitting with what it meant to be there, what the different feelings I had while I was there were, kind of this mix of both being very present with what was happening and also thinking about what happens next for me. And so I want to share with you a poem that I wrote a couple of days after this. It's called We Walk. We walk. I feel shame and discomfort. I feel aware and nervous. We walk. They block the highway, silent and watchful. We walk. Sunshine glints on the shields and on our sweat. We walk. Fists in the air, for what? Not a stolen TV, not a stolen phone, for what? To go for a run, to sleep at night, to breathe, for what? For peace. We walk for justice. We walk for kindness. We walk. Theirs are the bodies tossed aside. We walk. Theirs is the rage of experience. Mine is the rage of empathy. We walk. Does anyone need water or a snack? We walk. Theirs is the voice to heed as I unlearn. I must say his name as I uncover my bowels. I must say her name as I find the donate button. I must say their names as I cast my ballot. Black Lives Matter. I must say it to my colleagues as we begin our work. Black Lives Matter. I must say it to myself in the mirror as I begin my day. Black Lives Matter. We walk. We walk. We walk. We speak. We listen. We give. We vote. We unlearn until this ends.
I think Ashley needs some claps and snaps of approval there for sure. Yay. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that march was maybe 3 weeks ago now. Yeah. I think I'm still sharing my screen, so I think I will be able to just go to the next thing, which is we're going to have, and I guess I didn't quite decide in order for Trey and Giselle to, I invited them to, if they wanted to speak on this subject, share what's going on with them, how they're feeling, what they're processing. I wanted to make space for that here. So I think I saw Trey in the meeting, but it was a camera pointed at the sky. So he might have been traveling. But maybe Giselle, would you like to speak and share some?
We might have lost Giselle.
Giselle, I don't think I'm hearing you too
I
well.
don't see him. Oh, no, there.
We are still not hearing you.
How about now?
There we go.
There we go.
Talking about.
Have a series of mute buttons to manipulate here. Okay. Okay, so I can go first if it doesn't matter to me. When it was first proposed to me to talk about this, I was hesitant because I've always had views that some people agreed with, some people didn't agree with. But, you know, I decided, hey, I'm going to talk because my opinion is my opinion. Like it, don't like it. You guys don't like it, I can be put aside. I don't know. So the Black Lives Matter thing, you know, since this all started, I've heard a lot of sides on it, and you know, I've seen a lot of things over the past week that you know, makes me shout out, hey, I do want to express some things. Um, I have a lot of friends that are not, I'm sorry, that are Trump supporters and conservatives. And so I took a look at a lot of what they had to say, which made some hair stand up on the back of my neck, you know. Uh, wow. And I've always been, since I've come out as an atheist, you know, I've never been shy about my feelings on religion and anything else. And so I post things on Facebook and people like to respond, which is I leave it free. Hey, if you disagree with me, maybe what you say can enlighten me. But I'm not really changing on that. I'm seeing things like well, the liberals want to, this is what they're saying. The liberals want to take down Confederate monuments because they want to change history, or because they want to hide the fact that Republicans are who fought to free the blacks, free the slaves. And my answer to that is usually, yeah, that's true. That it's not that they want to hide that fact. It's because the statues were put up, most of these statues were put up during the civil rights era in order to intimidate, people. And yeah, the Republicans in history, if you go back 150 years ago, the Republicans are who fought to free the slaves, but it's mostly the Republicans now who are fighting to keep the Confederate statues, Confederate monuments, the rebel flags. When I was in the military, I'd go into some friend's room. Hey, Lewis, come look, come here, and they call me in their room, and on the wall there's a big Confederate flag, you know, and these are signs that are counter to what I believe in. It's been a painful thing. You know, the Confederate generals are who fought to keep slavery going, and I can't get over that. I can't pass that. I can't ignore that, you know. Uh, that I have a photo that I just seen a couple of days ago, and this thing here, this is a picture of what was done to slaves, you know. So I can't get over stuff like that, you know. Uh, when I hear about Emmett Till, who in the 60s was okay, maybe he whistled at a woman. He's a black guy, he whistled at a white woman, and then a knock on his door later that evening, and they promised his uncle, we're going to just take him and teach him a lesson. We're not going to hurt him. And this guy, if you saw the pictures and the of what was done to this guy and the reports on it, it's terrible. It's terrible. In the 90s, we had Rodney King. That's one of the first videos of police beating a guy. This guy was knocked out and he's laying on the ground. Police running up, hitting him with bully clubs. That's terrible. That's horrible. Around 2002, there's a video of police at a gas station. They got this guy out and they're beating him. They slam him on the hood of a car and they're punching him in the head. It's like, how is this okay? Another woman who was lost, didn't know where she was, and went and knocked on some people's door for help, and she gets shot, gunned down. Um, and I'm talking about that incident because she was backed by a lot of people. I'm sorry, the people that assassinated her were backed by a lot of people, and we all know about Trayvon Martin, and how after he was beaten and attacked and killed, a lot of people paid to defend his killer. That's terrible, you know. And he's going around signing Skittles wrappers on TV because Trayvon Martin was a teenager who went to the store, walking home, stalked, murdered, and killed. He was going to the store, and he one of the items he bought was Skittles. You know, Fruitville Station. You know, I don't know if you know how many people are aware of that incident. Police got everybody out, had them on the ground. Everybody on trains had cameras, and they're watching the police. Had these guys on the ground, and he was handcuffed and down, and the police shot him in the back. You know, uh, people in police car with handcuffed, so-called committed suicide by shooting themselves in the head. But remember, they're handcuffed with their hands behind their back. You know, we can go down the line and keep going and keep going. Uh, Police rolled up on a young kid and shot him. You know, and so these are the things that you know we're all aware of. But the things that I said, you know, when I said some of my opinions are counter to, you know, what a lot of people believe. I watched the what is it, 45-minute video of Richard Brooks, who fell asleep at Wendy's, was it a week ago Friday. And I watched that video. Somebody told me I need to watch the video. So I watched the video, and obviously the guy, Richard Brooks, has, you know, he's impaired because of alcohol. You know, he falls asleep. The police try to wake him up, and you know, they get him to pull over, and then they decide to do an impaired, you know, test on him. And the last thing was, you know, the blow test, the breathalyzer, and he was impaired. And so they go to put handcuffs on him, and he fight back. My opinion is once you fight back, you need to take some responsibility for what happens after that. And there are videos that show that him running, and he tries to fire back the taser that he snatched from the police. You need to take a little more responsibility for that. And yeah, they shot him in the back. Do I think he should have died for that? I don't think he should have died, but I do think he needs to take some responsibility for the escalation. But I don't think it's absolute that he should have died for that. You know, I see both sides. I try to be fair in my assessment of everything. And people saying, well, these people are racist. Okay. I don't know if I can judge them police as racist in that incident. Can I make the call whether they should have shot? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I do think some of the responsibility starts to fall on him. And people say, you know, I have a lot of people who start coming at me and telling me, well, these white racist people. I'm like, wait a minute. You can pull that out of it. Yes, a lot of these people were white. And a lot of incidents do point to some racism, a lot of racism. But I think, you know, it was already said today that we have to look at our allies in the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, when I have people who they are white, but they check on me to make sure that I'm okay. you know, or they are clearly allies. I think that needs to be looked at, you know. I think that needs to be acknowledged, because you cannot do this on your own. I'm pounding the desk, that's why I'm vibrating. Oh my God. But yeah, you know, I don't know. It's crazy to me, all the things that are happening. So I am looking at the people who are the allies and acknowledging them. I can't get over this. And the people who say blue lives matter, all lives matter, of course. But Black Lives Matter should be understood. They're saying Black Lives Matter too, not only Black Lives Matter, you know. Through my life, I have had a lot of police that have been respectful to me, you know. I have to acknowledge that. I have to remind people of that. It's not all police. So you can't, you can't, you just cannot ignore that fact. And I have friends who are police. I have friends who have children that are police now, and my heart goes out to what they face on a daily basis, you know. So, yeah, yeah, I guess I need to wrap this up, because it's easy to keep drolling on and on about it, but um, yeah, I had a lot of police that have taken care of me. Right now, my mom is having an issue with my brother. About a year and a half ago, he's having some kind of a mental issue that, and in a year and a half, you know, it's just been escalating, and police had to address the issue, uh, and you know, he's walking off, and police had to help my mom find him. Police had to help my mom uh, with getting him to a facility. He gets, released, but you know, it's almost a daily occurrence, and so now he's uh, in a facility in a Decatur area. But the patience, day after day, that the police showed needs to be recognized. You know, uh, there are some bad apples. There are a lot of uh, um, I know I've heard, well, you can't just say bad apples, because there are um, it needs to be addressed how the police are, trained and taught that they should handle these incidents, not just, with my brother, but uh, the bad situations that come out of it. You know, should you sit on someone's neck when they tell you that they can't breathe? No, you should not. That should be addressed, and those police need to be arrested. I do believe that. Uh, the the video that most of us have seen in New York of the guy who was in a chokehold until he died. You know, that's terrible. That's terrible. Myself, I have had some police who uh, were bad. You know, I'm driving, me and my ex, uh, and a friend of hers and a friend of mine. So it turned out to be two blacks and two whites, two black men and two white girls, and we're just driving. And if you know me, I don't drink alcohol. If you know me, I don't associate with anyone that's too wild. But two black men, two white ladies, and we're just driving around, you know and we're in a city we don't really know, and it's pitch black. There were not, I don't recall any street lights, in this area. And there was a policeman that was following us, and he did not have on any lights, like headlights, and it's completely dark. And all of a sudden, he flashed his emergency lights. We pull over. I don't know where I am. I do hit the curb because I'm nervous. And he pulls up and he's like, what are you doing? What's going on? I'm answering him. He's like, you drinking? No. Your eyes are red. I don't know why they would be red, officer. And so he decides, hey, can I search your vehicle? I don't see why not. Yeah. And so he's searching my vehicle, and he completely searches the vehicle. I mean, the glove compartment, he's pulling everything out. He had us all stand behind the vehicle while this is done. Front seat, back seat. He goes and checks my trunk and goes in the trunk, and in a toolkit, he finds a Swiss Army knife. In the toolkit, in the trunk of the car. He was like, what is this for? It's just in the toolkit, officer. And so he tried to make a big deal about it, but I said, is this against the law? He said no. And so he gave us a minute to clean up everything that was thrown out of the car and told us he didn't want us in the neighborhood again. So that is an example. I have had police, tell me, well, that officer actually at the end of that, he said, I don't want you in my town again, which is terrible. But the flip side of that, I've had a lot of police that has obviously taken care and precaution in their job, and they treated me with respect. And I do have a lot of police. Overall, the police take care of me when I'm outside, when they pull me over. They're very respectful in general. So I can't say that I can't be on the side that say all police are bad. I cannot when people say defund the police, yeah, that does sound bad because I do not agree with that term, defund the police. But what that's saying has to be looked at. Okay, they're not saying stop and there should be no more police. They're saying defund the idea that the police are the only thing that can take care of these issues. When you have people who what they're most of the time saying is defund the idea that the police are the only alternative, you know, and that's the way I look at it. That's my opinion, and so that has shaped me, um, because the police are not all racist. The police, force who knocked over the older guy, the 75-year-old guy, who they pushed him. If you've seen that video, he's a white guy, and he was pushed down by white cops. Yeah, so we have to watch. Okay, yeah, it's not only an issue of race, but when they push him down and he's laying there bleeding, and one cop goes to look for him and another cop stops him. And they said, well, yeah, the police are trained, this unit is trained to, you know, to keep going and let the help, let the medical attention come from someone else. Yeah, but when this man is laying on the ground, bleeding from his ear, and they're trained to not attend to him, then what they are trained to do, in my opinion, is wrong. And so when you say Black Lives Matter, I think Black Lives Matter is trying to address the kind of training that lead to incident after incident. And if these people are trained these police are trained, if to see a citizen on the ground bleeding from his ear, and they're not going to do something about that, then no, I think we need to make a stand and keep making a stand. The protests that are going on, I think the protests are trying to say, hey, when someone is beaten by the police, not all police are going to beat them, but you know what happens? They've been riots, there has been protests, and the protests are, they do die down after a while. But then if the situation happens again and again and again, and we protest, and then it happens again, and we protest, it's like a cycle. So, yeah, I do think that I do understand both sides of what's going on here. And I do understand that anger, because when I watch this thing makes me angry. Dave Chappelle came out and talked about it, but what does my Republican friends say? Well, you know, they make up excuses for it. And that can't be either. So I'm going to step down, but these things do make me angry. They make me, oh my God. When I watch the video of the guy saying, I can't breathe, please, sir, and nothing is done, all the way up to, yeah, he knew that he was going to die, and nothing was done. Nothing was stopped. The other police were around him. And when you keep seeing this over and over and over, then no, um, something need to be done about it. And then some of my Republican friends say, yeah, he was down, but like I already said this today, that you know they say that they say it over and over now that blue lives matter. Yeah, we know that. But Black Lives Matter too is what we're saying, and that's what we're trying to get out there. Um, when they say, like I said earlier, that when they say that, about the Confederate issues that I addressed earlier, please. So when I look around and the people who give us a voice, I have to appreciate that. So yeah, I'm going to step down and and say I do appreciate, and I do think that our allies, you know, I've never been disrespected personally. I've never felt disrespected by how Anna has stepped up. Jared has stepped up, has stepped up, Ashley stepped up. The Sunday Assembly, steps up. Ross, I know who has my back more than Ross. You know, the Sunday Assembly has our back. So when people, you know, when people, step up, um, then I do agree that we need to look at our allies. And again, we need to I don't know, this is killing me to watch how the country is being torn apart. Um, so I'm going to step down because I'm going to keep drooling on if I don't. But I do appreciate all that people who look out for us and stand on our side and help us out. So before I start drolling on and on, yes, the police have always, well, no, I can't say always. The police has very often given me respect. The police has very often given my family respect. There are times where the police should have done things differently. Um, there was an issue where I was in court and my mom had my sister with me, and my sister was 2 and 3 years old. And my sister 3 years old, and of course, so she's making noises, and the police decided they wanted to take me to jail. And so my mom is leaving after this court issue. And so I'm sorry, I didn't explain what it was. It was driving without a license, because the initial issue was I was working and I was driving without a license, which I am wrong. And I'm in a court, and the police say, well, you are going to bring evidence to support why you were driving without a license. And I didn't have anything. And they say, well, you're going to bring support or evidence to show why you, you know, didn't come the week before to court. I didn't have that evidence. And so, yes, they should have addressed that. But the problem after that, my mom, after that court date, after the court issue, they told me to follow. They told me to follow the cop, the bailiff, the officer that was arresting me. And so my mom was leaving, and so someone followed my mom outside, an officer, and he said, um, the judge wants you to come back inside. And my mom was like, I'm not here. I'm not on trial. And so they were like, well, your 3-year-old daughter was making too much noise. And so what happened is my mom was knocked down to the ground and arrested. Is that what should have happened? No. So there are two sides to every story. Um, so I think we need to address the issues you know, when they are, you know, wrong. So that's my point of view. And again, I'm going to say I do back Black Lives Matter. I am on their side. And Black Lives Matter are not an organization that only hurt people. And when I hear Antifa this and Black Lives Matter, I have had a lot of people tell me, I've had people tell me Black Lives Matter are out to hurt people. I haven't seen that. I have not seen that. I had a friend post, I say a friend because I'm trying to be clear, and I'm trying to give everyone a voice. But I had a friend post that Black Lives Matter are, um, not the ones on 9/11. Black Lives Matter is not who were out there, you know, cleaning up the mess. Antifa, which is to me a conspiracy theory, which kills me. But it's beautiful that we have so many people who are working with us at the same time, you know. So I do clap for all the people, and I do back all the people who back me. Like I keep saying Ashley, like I keep saying. So I said I'm going to step down, and I can't do that for some reason, so I'm going to do it now. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Do we want to give
Don't
some claps?
step down if you don't want to. Go
Yeah,
for it,
thank
man.
you,
Go for it.
Giselle. That
Go
was,
for it.
Please.
yeah.
Go for it. I got a yappy dog, so I got to mute. Sorry.
Thank you. Hey, Giselle, thank you. Like, I mean, like, Trey, I want to pass the ball to you in a second. I just wanted to say, like, Giselle, like, I don't know if you think of yourself as a quiet fellow. A lot of times, you know, in band, right, you're expressing yourself through music and like and all this, but like I really appreciate you sharing. I really do. And I appreciate you sharing what you thought like was like that you maybe you weren't sure you wanted to share it. And I really appreciate that, because it is important to recognize that we're talking about Black Lives Matter, and Black Lives Matter, like, Black people are not a monolith either, right? So like that is a key thing. Like there's a wide range of spectrum and experience, like you just named, and so much of what we're trying to deal with is this tension of like demanding action with a lot of nuance and complexity at every moment, at every interaction, at every example. That is part of what makes it hard to be like pursuing what we're trying to pursue. So I really appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, I appreciate it too, Giselle. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Trey, did you? Yes. So yes, please. We're snapping. We're clapping. And then I want to invite Trey. If you have anything to add, I would love to hear it.
Sure, yeah, I can go ahead and speak for a bit. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, you are.
Great.
Audible, but you're not. We don't see you yet.
You don't see
I
me?
can't hear you very well, Trey.
Let's see. So this video is streaming. I can see myself. Oh, just as on the speaker view. Do I need to not share my screen? But
Trey, I think you're pretty good. If you speak up and you keep talking, we'll see you.
okay, that's fine. All right. No, yeah. So again, thanks again, Giselle, for sharing your experiences and such. I wanted to, similarly, I guess talk about my own experiences, but also like the general state of affairs in the country. So I have myself like the fortunate privilege to have grown up in a sort of upper middle class family, and consequently, I believe, at least in large part, haven't had as many negative direct experiences with the police. And my father, who grew up like in the ghetto of Chicago, made great strides in making sure that was the case. So really briefly, like I have had a couple of questionable experiences. And many of you know me and my partner, Leslie. And if you don't, Leslie is a white woman. So there have been 2 instances in which I've been pulled over with her in a car as well. And while those weren't terrible, and when the officer asked if we were dating, which I think he was attempting to be friendly and asking this question to kind of a small talk. However, I'm trying to start a timer. Reasons, if you're familiar with the general feeling with regards to being stopped by the police and the at least anxiety and nervousness it causes about how will this experience go, that raised flags in my head. As we were driving through essentially the middle of nowhere in North Florida, headed to our family's house. In many places, particularly rural places, interracial relationships are still frowned upon. And a police officer asking if I am dating this white woman made me very nervous, to say the least. It seemed like a very inappropriate question and irrelevant to why I was being pulled over, which was for speeding, ostensibly. And similarly, another instance in Decatur, I was pulled over for being like pulled too far, I guess, into the intersection, which was partly because there was a cop car directly behind me and I didn't want to reverse because I was already very nervous that they were just right there. And when we pulled forward, she pulled me over, and she was a Black woman. And she asked my partner, Leslie, who was in the passenger seat, for her ID, and which she didn't have on her. She chastise her for some reason for not having it, though it's not required to have your ID. But she warned her against the possibility of like, you know, she been kidnapped or something else was occurring, which is another situation that it makes me very nervous because there are many instances historically of particularly Black men being seen as threats. And even though the officer was a Black one, that was very much cause for concern for me. But ultimately, those were the worst experiences I had directly with police. And it's something like the stories that Giselle has brought forward before. And to give a bit of perspective, if you yourself aren't Black, then I'm not sure if you're already familiar with like having the talk as such within Black communities. And that is traditionally when usually Black fathers, if possible, parents, sit their children, usually Black sons, down to talk about how to deal with the police and what to expect in interactions and how to act properly. Or I should say perhaps the talks, as I've had this discussion with my father multiple times throughout my life. I imagine probably the first time might have been, I was 10 or 12, when he says, if a police stops you, how to present myself, how to speak, how to act, what to show. So have your ID out and have your car insurance prepared for being stopped for in traffic, which is, well, I'll say first, the most recent time I've had this talk was last year, actually. I was pulled over, also in the middle of nowhere between Athens and Georgia, and I was recounting this to my father, telling him that, well, by the time the officer had gotten to the car, he had my ID out, my car insurance right there, had the cabin light on, had the window rolled down. And he told me not to do this because perchance the police officer will walk up to my car and see me fumbling about in my vehicle. Maybe he'll think I'm trying to draw a weapon. Maybe he'll think I'm trying to hide something, and to instead wait until the officer gets there, just follow his directions exactly, to ensure that the interaction goes okay. And what I realize is that ultimately this is a kind of negotiating with my life and safety, essentially, figure out what series of actions to take that will make it least likely that this will end up with me being arrested for maybe speeding or driving for a tail light out or whatever the case may be. And that very much reflects how Black men particularly go through the world in relation to the police. I just wanted to share that particular perspective as it's something that is, I believe, kind of more endemic to Black culture specifically. And I'm sure not everyone has that dark perspective. So that's a bit about me. Talking about like Black Lives Matter more generally and the police as well, the police in the United States particularly. Touching on something Giselle mentioned, so we've seen like repeatedly used in the social media and news the phrase, there are a few bad apples, particularly expressed by people on the right or conservatives or Republican Party, which first I want to address that, keeping in mind where that phrase comes from, a few bad apples will spoil the bunch, which I think is not considered when that's usually uttered. But I guess elaborating on that specifically, recognizing that whereas most incidences of police brutality, particularly with a racial component, does occur with particular individuals in the police force who tend to have like a record of excessive uses of force. And as Giselle said, you know, maybe most of the police department aren't racist or what have you, don't engage in excessive use of force, I'm not sure. But it's important to recognize how the police and the judicial legislative system consistently stands behind police who do were accused of police brutality. For example, I'm not sure of the details. Even here, after the incident with the murder of Rayshard Brooks in Atlanta, did I get his name right? God, I never know. Anyway, the Atlanta Police Department has started or had been striking in response to ultimately this officer being held culpable for his excessive use of force. And you'll see that with the backing of the police unions, typically, police departments will tend to lock ranks around one of their own who is being held accountable. That's when, as well as many instances wherein legislators and juries won't find police that are accused of police brutality or found guilty of it. Not that this is in fact the case, won't be charged. We live in a system that reinforces this, is ultimately the point that I'm trying to make, wherein an officer, one of these bad apples may do something wrong, but the system that is in place will ensure that they aren't held accountable for these actions. And so that's part of why the ongoing protests have been rather fortunate that they have resulted in the police officers who've been involved in these instances, most recently actually being charged. And hopefully that be some amount of justice done there. But ultimately, we need a solution that will work both short-term and long-term. And that brings me to something I'm sure many of you have been encountering, people advocating for either reforming or defunding or abolishing the police. And talking briefly on that, as I'm not an expert in this activism in particular, but to give an idea of what is meant when people say that. There are many ways that we can change the current policing system. Though I think really benefit the Americans. I think it's easy to be, we're grounded in the system and the culture that we live in, and it's easy to forget or not be aware of the ways that the way that we live can be. Most obviously, all of the democratic countries, their police systems have relatively few instances of police killings or police brutality. Many of them don't carry guns as a matter of course. You will see that a lot of, I think these instances are caused by the training that our police receive. In particular, there is a particularly common or prominent, I think, type referred to as warrior training, wherein the police are trained to see themselves as warriors, as kind of like soldiers in the battlegrounds, fighting the good fight, as it were, which I think is directly opposed to the idea of the police being present to protect and serve. And consequently, this mindset, I think, enables individuals to resort to force that isn't actually necessary. And even then, you'll see instances where a police precinct or department or the mayor, the governor will refuse to pay for warrior training sessions. I forget where in particular this has happened recently. And in response, the police raise money to afford this training on their own. I think it's another instance of like the police culture being a problem independent of individuals. I think someone earlier mentioned in the chat that there are many situations wherein the situation doesn't call for sending in someone who's armed with a gun and the thought in the back of their mind that they might have to use it. I think and the situation, without really knowing much about it, that Giselle talked about regarding his mother and his brother, that doesn't seem like a situation that requires a police officer with a gun. That seems like something that is more of a social issue that could be handled by social workers or someone who is trained for situations like that aren't like the traditional view of the hardened criminal, as it were. Which, going back to my point of like, when we talk about defunding the police, it's not just reducing the budgets of police departments, but additionally investing in more community-centered services that will reduce the amount of unemployment and homelessness, drug addiction, all of these social issues that form like the backdrop of why there might be higher crime in a particular area than elsewhere. And particularly when we're talking about abolishing the police altogether, which I think for many seems like a extreme tact, but I think is perhaps hard to imagine, and that might be an issue of imagination, but it's, in addition to there being many alternatives to the police force as we understand it, responding to instances, you see, perhaps as a better example of like what an absent police is like, is many affluent neighborhoods where you don't have a kind of police presence that you have in typically poor, typically brown communities where you have things like neighborhood watches, you have all manner of recourses that the neighborhoods will go to avoid having actual police involved. So there's like a classic, or faces. You'll see, for example, that arrests involving drug possession affect disproportionately Black people in America, Black and brown people. Where in many affluent neighborhoods, if you have someone who would otherwise likely be arrested by the police, typically you'll find responses where they try to, they're an addict, get them assistance, like medical assistance, and not involve the police altogether. There are a lot of alternate ways to handle social issues that don't require the kind of policing that we are familiar with, particularly in urban areas. That's just a very small kind of primer, like the possibilities that are available to us, particularly if we can keep the current movement going. And so I already wanted to talk about the moment. Maybe that might enlighten some of you, I'm not sure. If you're already unfamiliar with what I'm talking about.
No, that's deeply appreciated. Thank you so much, Trey, for sharing what you're seeing in what the current events are happening, what the protests are about, what these ideas are, that some of them seem hard to, right? Because like it's hard to even imagine what like some of these things actually would look like. And I think it's valuable to think about both the incremental changes, right, that are like being debated in our legislature right now, and the like grander vision, and imagining like, even if we don't get there, what are we trying to get to that creates? How do we make that? There are so many possibilities that I would really like for us to, golly, at least be trying. So thank you so much for sharing, and Giselle as well, and so, thank you. Yes, so we're gonna clap, we're gonna snap, we're gonna appreciate everyone who's been sharing. Up next, we are going to have Bryant, who I hope, where are you? Yes, you are. There you are.
Yep, still here.
We're gonna have Bryant read a poem that he himself wrote. You said it was an old one. I don't know how old it is.
It has existed in some form since probably 1993.
Okay. I'm not going to throw shade on anyone who, I'm not going to say whether that's old or not. I think it's a young, healthy, vibrant poem. So,
well,
Brian, take it away.
I'll give it a very, very brief introduction. So, again, I'm Brian O'Hara, and I am, for folks who don't know, I am a poet who does essentially science fiction. I deal in that realm, and to me, as a kid, I often made the mistake as a dumb kid of saying that history was bunk, and that I found Isaac Asimov more important than William Shakespeare. Many, many decades later, I've altered that view. But I have not given up the
Are
perspective.
you saying 1993 is that many decades ago? Because I don't think so.
Oh, no. When I was in high school, before that. No, way before that. But the idea for me was that having a vision of the future, what some people call the American dream, or however you want to phrase it. For me, I call it essentially the beautiful dream. Something that is essentially positive, that is something that's on the realm, bordering on mythology. So the poems that I've created tended to be in that space. And this is one of the first ones that I had done. And it's basically called The Heavy Cranes. And, if y'all want to talk about it later, we can, but here goes. Who am I? A casual human. I dabble in humanity. Call me Joseph No One. My enemies call me nobody. My friends call me nobody special. On the third day of Kwanzaa, a mass of circuit diagrams zigzagged up to me, and slouching in the next chair made me an offer to be more than I alone could ever become. He said, you, yes, you, a dabbler in humanity, can be a part of the army of its saviors. We are the ghetto birds, singularities born in slums. We deep dream of stars, and we offer you our services as heavy cranes. Heavy cranes, huh? Sure. You see, building worlds is easy. It's the people that are hard to work with. You got to go for the minds. You can't tell them to just follow the drinking gourd. You got to get them to get up off the planet and head straight for the Big Dipper. And remember, we must take our worlds with us, because sometimes it's got to be small enough to fit inside your helmet and grand enough to build a starship. So I say, I'm going to be a pilot of one of these heavy cranes? No. Think of yourself more along the lines of a universal joint than a pilot. Wait, what? Why are you doing this? What's in it for you? Look into my circuitry, and you will see human souls driving it like they stole it. My motivation is simple. It is the many of you that make me. All right, interesting offer. You got a guarantee? As always, no. Well, at least you're honest. You got yourself a U-joint. How do we start? Just hold our hands. So I held the heavy crane's hands, and 4 more gathered around me, their circuitry wrapped around my nerves as their struts and gears and gee-jaws linked themselves to my body and to each other's. And before you could say transform, I had become a ghetto bird, a heavy crane. Our first task was to resurrect the junkie jellymen. In this city of rundown dreams, crook lights, and evil dead hoopties, dirty syringes sang, let's go out to the crack house, let's go out to the crack house, let's go out to the crack house and grab ourselves some smack. And the junkie jelly men and women wiggled and jiggled to the jingle as the jabberwocks on their backs fed the volts to their back brains. I and the other heavy cranes took metal, old computer parts that invoked the power of Shaft, Shaka, and Fred G. Sanford to to build skeletons for these unstructured ones. My first case was one Minnie the Moocher, most slapped together ghetto rig job I've ever done. But the bones did power up. They slipped under her skin and began converting the Jabberwock into a backup power source. As Minnie the Moocher awoke from her slumber, I packed away my geejaws, assumed human form, and made her the offer. Like a professional dabbler in humanity, she asked for a guarantee. Like a newborn heavy crane, I said flatly, there ain't one. She dug my architecture and asked for the how-to, and we held hands. Remember this, we got a small world in our hands, so keep it under your helmet. Who do we give it to? She asked. Everyone. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you so much, Bryant. Now, if I recall, this is a poem that you read last year when we were at Grady Hospital, remembering Thomas Finch. Am I right?
Yes, and to give folks a little bit of context for that, Thomas Finch was a man who had been lynched in Atlanta back in the 30s, I believe it was.
It might be 36.
36, yes. And it turns out that Thomas Finch was an ancestor of mine on my mother's side. So once we were kind of informed of this, representatives of our family were asked to speak at this gathering called Stories from the Soil. And this, when they officially opened the exhibit at the Auburn Avenue Research Library, a bunch of people were asked to speak. And one of the things that I had found was that there's a heavy emphasis on the past, on the history, on the present. And those are important and they need to be said. But also what needs to be said is providing a vision of the future. And I feel that's kind of where I fit in.
And we are lucky to have you.
Thanks, glad to be here.
Yeah, I mean, I get caught up in the fun wordplay about electrical engineering because I relate to that, but I really appreciate the imaginative vision that you create, and exactly how you're kind of a counterpoint to thinking about everything that we have come through, or that some of us have come through.
Well, just to be clear, in case folks didn't kind of get the point in it, at least a couple of the characters recur in many of my poems. And I'm just a slight plug. I am putting out a collection of poems that will be coming out real soon, and you guys will be among the first to get the announcement when it happens. But particularly the idea of what I refer to as the ghetto birds are recurring characters. And for those who don't know, the phrase ghetto bird the term ghetto bird is a slang term for a police helicopter.
Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't heard that in a while. Yeah,
Yeah, because I was with my brother driving around, and he was playing me tape from NWA, and that song Ghetto Bird was what was playing.
Oh, yeah.
So, but me thinking about the future, I was thinking Transformers and Mechagodzilla, and so I basically decided to turn that term into something I thought was a bit more useful.
And I'm grateful for you doing that. It is rad. So I really appreciate it. Up next, so we have an icebreaker that I think I'm going to have for what we talk about at the end when we break and have open conversation. It's an icebreaker about, we've got a link that's pretty cool, that lists a whole bunch of Black-owned restaurants and businesses all around Atlanta. And of course, the encouragement will be to take a look at what is around you. What were you not even aware of what is around you, and who could you be patronizing if you so choose? Which I would encourage, because Ashley and I have had pizza at this new place, and it is rad and it is great. And we're so happy to know that we are actively supporting, folks that we are thinking about a lot right now. So. So we'll talk about that afterwards. What we're going to do next is we're going to bring up Adam, and Adam is going to unmute himself, and he is going to talk Life Happens with us. And this is a section, while he's bringing it up, where we have members of our community submit these things. We used to do them on little note cards, and now, of course, we're doing it with a Google form where people share what is going on in their life. It could be good, it could be bad, big, it could be small, anything. And I'm gonna let Adam take it away.
Cool, thanks, Ross. So yeah, and we'll just keep the snaps and claps going. So we like to do snaps for things that may be kind of hard to hear or need a little more support, and some claps for good news. So I'll just jump right into it. We've got 9 submissions this time. First one is from Bara. It says, after over a year of searching for a full-time job and getting involved in data analytics projects via ATLytics, I think that's how you pronounce it, I haven't been able to find anything. I have also opened up myself to other opportunities with no luck. Luckily, I have found a progressive canvassing job that is full-time. It starts June 22nd and ends election day. Although it isn't permanent and it isn't quite what I'm looking for, it is something to tide me over. I also did 2 presentations for ATLytics and have another COVID-19 one on Thursday, June 25th. So hopefully that gets me some experience so I can get something sooner than later after elections. Outside of work, I have missed group social gatherings, but I have been active with video chat with many friends that I haven't been in touch with before. So this is something I will utilize after COVID-19 is over. So sometimes these are mixes of snaps and claps, and I think that's what we can all do on that one. So thanks a lot, Bharat. That's really, really good for sharing. Number 2 is from my wife, Paulina. And she said, I just want to share something positive this time. We adopted a cat last week. She is super friendly, 1.5-year-old kitty, and we named her Remy. We are really excited to have a new member in our little family. So he's actually right behind me right now, sleeping. Like, really fun, yeah. But, all right. Next up is my submission. And I wrote basically regarding Life Happens submissions. I said, I wrote mine a few times, but I kept stopping myself and deleting it. The fact is, as someone who comes from an interracial family, I have been struggling with anger towards so many people I know regarding Black Lives Matter and all the stuff that is happening right now. But there's just too much to say. It's just frustrating and sad that basic human rights issues remain so politicized and divisive. So, yep, snap for that, clap for the cat, and snap for that, I guess, right? For the, yeah. All right. Ross is up next. He says he's stuck in the middle of a difficult work project, but has got a number of balls rolling for Sunday assembly yesterday, hoping to get to bed on time tonight. That's a good problem to have. All right. All right. Jared is up next. He says, I'm dialing into assembly tonight from me and Leah's new house. We're glad to be settling in and to almost be done with all the new home adjustments that seem to crop up. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, a couple more here. Ashley has said that The last month has included me finding a really great therapist who is supporting me in processing some hard experiences from the last few years. I am beyond grateful for those who greatly encouraged me to reach out, have processed things with me over the years, and are celebrating and witnessing what this is creating for me now. I feel seen in context. Very nice. Excellent. Tim says, I've been staying down in rural Florida with my dad for the past month or so. I've been sick recently and getting over a bad ear infection, so been out of commission for the most part. Being unemployed during the pandemic has been really hard, but I am trying to stay optimistic that things will get better in coming months. Yeah, some snaps for that one. Thanks for sharing, Tim. And then we've got Freya. I have a bunch of stuff to sell, mainly books, she says. All right. Clap for that. And let's see here. Andy's the last one I've got. And he says, today I installed a weather station in our backyard, and I'm excited to contribute that stream of data to several weather websites, something I've wanted to do for years. That's pretty awesome. Yeah. After that. Very cool. And that is everybody. So thanks for everyone for sharing, and we appreciate it.
Hey, Andy, after we break, you can't just drop something as cool as that, like in a Life Happens, and expect to not explain a lot more about what that is about, because that's fascinating. So prepare to explain yourself.
And I put a link in the chat.
Okay, cool.
I see it.
Yes. So thank you very much, Adam, for continuing to receive, collect, and share, including you know, your own and your family's experiences. And like I celebrate the triumphs, and my heart goes out to the folks that are struggling right now. That is a lot of people, and I mean, golly, I hope that this is just a couple hours of something useful for you. So thank you. I am clicking on my presentation. Y'all don't get to see the cool slides that I'm going through that keep me on track. Wait, I lied. You are going to see this slide. This one you do need to see. Okay. Okay, so we are doing our collection. So if we could just kind of pass the basket, and we're going to go in gallery order. So Ashley, you're going to pass it to me. I'll pass it to Paulina and Adam, and we'll kind of go down the line like that. It's going to be by mail. It'll take like a month, but it'll be worth it. Actually, in fact, so you can always support Sunday Assembly Atlanta by clicking the donate button on our website. But this month it felt more proper to point at some other organizations relevant to this theme. So I wanted to just name 4 of them that stuck out to me when I was doing some research. There's been a lot of attention on the national groups, like bail funds, a lot of these national things. And I wanted to highlight some of the local stuff that's happening that may or may not be getting the same amount of love. So the groups that spoke to me were Southerners on New Ground, or SONG. I have their websites right there, so you can feel free to punch those in or save them. I'll do my best to link to these after the event. But they support LGBTQ, people of color, and beyond in their advocacy and their work in the South, and specifically the Atlanta chapter. Access to Reproductive Care Southeast, or ARC Southeast. They provide abortion and reproductive access, care access to people all through the Southeast. And these services are disproportionately needed by people of color. There's the Housing Justice League. They advocate for affordable housing all across Atlanta. They're like watching the Beltline, for example, and the housing that goes up around there, because I love the Beltline, but I don't want it to be a gentrification engine that pushes people away. I want it to be used by everyone. And Project South, they are pretty rad. They're an institute for the elimination of poverty and genocide. They've been around for 30 years. And for example, right now, they've been doing COVID-19 testing out of their building. They are kind of a community institution that provides a wide array of services. And I think they are, to use a word I used before, rad. Dare I say, rad as hell. So, and I kind of want to, like, it's very easy to let this slide kind of go by and you go, okay, cool, I learned about them and just move on. I want to challenge folks who have the means, right? I'm not going to assume everybody has funds to just throw away right now, but I challenge you to commit to an action. Like, pick one of these that sticks out to you, learn more about it, and donate. This is how this happens. This is the kind of call to action that you can take away from this this assembly. And either I or someone else will make sure those are links. People can hop onto them right after. All right, let's see what I have next. Oh, I have many, many donate buttons. Remember this joke? Remember this joke from last time and all the other times? Yeah, yeah. Donate, donate. That's one of the main ways that you can be supporting folks right now. Okay, we are at the home stretch. There's going to be announcements and then I'll say rad as hell squared video, music video from our band. So we are having recurring virtual mindfulness meditation events. They're happening twice a week. Ashley does one on Mondays. Joanne does one on Wednesdays. And they are great. They're a small little tight-knit group that just reflects, is quiet, and talks about it. It's a simple thing. Add a routine to your life. It'll be good.
I want them to be big groups, though. They don't have to be small groups.
Agreed.
Big groups.
Yeah, so we're shooting for like 100 people.
Yes, yes.
Each, who all manage to remain in absolute silence for half an hour.
Yeah, yeah.
That's the goal. We also have a new anti-racism unlearning group. This meets right after the Monday meditation group. And is this the one that is reading through the book Me and White Supremacy? The info is in Meetup, and you are expected to actually like read the book as you go. But that is an excellent way to follow up on this if you are so moved to follow up on this and have an active role in confronting what our history is and how we may participate in it. We also have the Secular Parents Community Group, and the first one that's coming up is on the 25th of June. It is Parenting During a Pandemic. So this is Paulina and Adam's joint, which we're really excited about. If you got anything to say about it, feel free. I know we got a couple parents who are already signing up.
No, we're excited to do it. We've got a bunch of people signed up, and yeah, you can see the little one bouncing behind me right now. So
perfect timing. Thank you.
Yeah, if you're questioning our our credibility here. No, we're looking forward to it though. Yeah.
Yeah, I am too. This is a need, and I'm really grateful for y'all's interest in like shepherding this into something that lots of people can enjoy. And last, we have the Feminist Book Club reading Untamed. That is going to be June 27th, so Saturday. And there is more info as usual in the description of these, which you can find all of them on meetup.com, where we have all of the events. Our next assembly is virtual, probably. No, not probably, definitely. And usual time, third Sunday of the month at 5:30. And we are looking at Joanne might be helping us put on an assembly about homelessness specifically. And so I'm looking forward to helping make that happen.
I will be.
Excellent.
Still looking for a speaker though, if anybody knows good speakers.
Okay. I know that like Andy, we may be able to reach out to the Mad Housers again. That might be a really great option for talking about this. Mm-hmm.
So the Mad Housers are still around. I'm glad to know that.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. So we have a couple other things on here. Hey, we always need volunteers. You know, we don't need help putting up chairs or setting out tables or setting up projectors, but planning assemblies, right? Putting together these pieces and reaching out to folks to create these kinds of events. That's key. And we always need people who are willing to step up and make these things happen. It is a very rewarding experience to know that you have created something that caused people to think on a theme that means something to you. And yeah, I want to thank people who are supporting local elections and policy changes in whatever form that takes, creating safe spaces and challenging the status quo, and those who are showing up at protests. Thank you to all those folks. Thank you to all the people who have spoken and created things for this assembly. I am deeply appreciative of each and every one of you and everyone who has stuck with us through this. I think we are at the last thing. Yes. So we have been very focused on the problems of our mortal world. We have been thinking about how to, you know, no big deal, just solve racial inequality in our city, state, country, and world. But why don't we unite together and leave this world? Why don't we become space cowboys, dare I say? The band rehearsed this song for March's assembly, which was going to be about have a space vibe. It was going to be featuring a speaker on that, and of course, a pandemic hit, and we did not do it. But the band really wanted to do this exact song, and it's great because it's a very good song, and it's one of my faves. And Scott, you'll see all the folks who are performing, except for Dan, who's doing an excellent drum job, but is represented, I think, fairly. And extra props to Diane, who did all the video editing for this. And I think, Diane, you gave a shout out to Adam for doing a bit of the audio editing too, if I recall. Is that right?
Adam put a lot of the audio together. I put me and Jared on top of what he did, but he did most of the audio stuff.
So a team effort all around. So don't let it be lost on you how much work it is to make our band come together to have one cool song. Okay, so let's all appreciate and enjoy Space Cowboy. Here we go. Do, do, do. I don't know how to crank this up.
There we go.
Space since the moment I first realized. Put on your fast on your password until maybe could. You know I you're outside. I'm a space cowboy. Bet you weren't ready for that. I'm a space cowboy. I'm sure you know where it's at. Yeah, 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 yeah. Slow down, lost and bounce, turn around to boys in military shirts. I keep my eyes on the prize, on the bomb, on the skies, and I don't let my friends get hurt. All you backroom schemers, Star Trek dreamers, better find something new to say. Cause it's the same old story, it's the same old crime, and you got some heavy dues to pay. I'm a space cowboy, bet you weren't ready for that. I'm a space cowboy, I'm sure you know where it's at. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I need my lighter. See all the lights.
I know, right? Jared was seemingly having a religious experience at the end of that. Like you could tell.
Yeah, I did get that impression.
Yeah,
Well,
despite everything we've done, clearly Steve Miller Band will convert you back. So with that, that is how we are closing with a fun song. I really appreciate everybody coming. Gisele's got something. Gisele's got a lighter. Gisele's on point, y'all. So we are going to open up the floor for just chatting, just like we would at a potluck. If you want to get food and get in the vibe of that, you are welcome to. I'm going to, if it hasn't already, share that link about Black-owned restaurants and businesses. So peruse that. That can be something to chat about as well. Find out, oh, hey, I didn't know that was near me. Or feel good that you've always been going to a cool place. But yeah, so I'm going to shut up. I've been Ross, and I'm going to please talk amongst yourselves.
Yes, thanks again, Ross, for hosting all of this and putting it all together, along with everyone else who participated. How many options here? There you go.
Thanks a lot, everybody. It's glad to hear everybody, and glad we got to hear some really good words.
Thanks, everybody. We're gonna go feed these children, but you guys all.
Thank you.
I wish I could virtual babysit. I bet I would be welcome in your group if I could do that.
You would love that too.
I'll do it. If you can figure out a way, I'll do it.
You know what we didn't mention? About a week ago, the Supreme Court had that new decision on the LGBT laws about the firing for your sexual preference. So
Yeah.
got to
Yeah,
recognize
and then
that.
also the decision on DACA.
Yes.
Yes. Yay.
Yep.
Those were two big farts in Trump's face.
Right. Yeah. Right on his cheeks.
Plus his rally last night that nobody attended. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting political. I apologize.
No, keep it coming.
Like reserving tickets and then nobody showed up.
Wasn't that cool? I'm sorry. I like that.
I mean, is that actually what happened, or is that their excuse for it?
No, I think that happened.
I think
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's like